Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Author's Corner. I am so excited about today because we will be talking to Joyce. She is the author of this book, which is Captain Blue and the Red Crescent Moon. I loved reading this book myself, and I know that you will love and enjoy listening to our interview today. So let us meet the author herself and her sons. So let's bring them up because I can't wait to talk to each of you. Welcome to Author's Corner. This is Author's Corner with Cayenne Wellness Center. So, hi, everybody.
Hi. Thank you so much for having us. We are very thrilled and excited to be with you guys.
Thank you. I want everybody just say your name and how old you are for the kids.
I'm 10.
What's your name?
My name is DJ.
Hi, DJ.
I'm Junior, but my real name is Michael, and I'm 9 years old.
Hi, Junior. I am happy to meet you.
I'm Andy, and I'm 5.
Hi, Andy. Welcome to Author's Corner. I know that you all are in this book, right?
Yes.
Are you really, really excited to tell us about the book today?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you have a favorite page of the book?
I have a favorite page.
What's your favorite page, Junior?
I'm in the book, but I'm also a superhero in the book.
Awesome. Mom, can you show us the superhero page so that we can see that page?
Of
Where
course.
I have my superhero suit on.
Yes, this will be Junior chasing the sickle cell away. He's the superhero that saves the day.
Yes, I love the illustrations. They are so fun and so happy. DJ, do you have a favorite page?
My favorite page is when I get all better.
Can you show us that page, Mom?
Yes, this is DJ when he is all better.
Oh, that's terrific. And Andy, do you have a favorite page?
My favorite page is when we were playing with sand.
Oh, do you like to go to the beach?
Yes.
What is your favorite part about being at the beach?
Making sand castles.
Oh, I love to make sandcastles too. Thanks so much for sharing with us your favorite part of the book. I love the illustrations and I love that the story is about you and you all, and we're able to meet you. This is truly incredible. Did you help your mom write the story?
Yes. Kind of.
Can you tell us a little bit? I know your mom is going to read the story to us a little bit later, but can you tell us a little bit about the story?
I can
Yes,
make a
DJ.
summary.
I'm gonna let DJ tell us first, and then we'll let you share.
So, can I see the back? This book explores the imagination of children as they read along by presenting a fun and straightforward way of explaining sickle cell disease.
Yes. And Junior, you wanted to share something with us.
Uh-huh. Can I see the book? The book is mostly about how DJ got sickle cell and how I made him feel better in the end, and I was a superhero in the story.
Oh, that is super incredible. I am so proud of each of you.
I
That
was
is
a
terrific.
citizen.
You were a citizen in the story?
Yes.
Can you show us that page, please?
Is it this one? Which one?
It's the one where Daddy's carrying him.
Is it the one who went to the hospital with Daddy and all of us?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. I think he's talking about the family time where we all
Yes.
have to meet the doctor.
That is a beautiful page, and I'm so glad you were in the story too. This is super triple terrific because we get to meet and see each one of you and see the part you played in the story. So thank you so much for sharing, and wave to everybody and say hi so that they will know that you are here.
Hi.
All right.
This is
You can go now.
It is.
but mommy, that's I want her to
Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to ask your mom some questions, but I am so glad that we were able to meet each of you. It is definitely a terrific and fun experience to talk to you. So,
Bye.
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 And close the door for me, please. Okay, funny. Okay, go.
Joyce, your boys are just handsome and so intelligent. Thank you so much for allowing us to meet them.
They couldn't wait. They couldn't wait to share this. So when I told them, like, Mom, can I be in? I'm like, okay, come on board.
Yes, that's what we want as parents. We want to get our children involved as early as possible. So I am truly happy to see their eagerness and their joy just to participate. So this was definitely awesome. I know that we have a lot of questions for you, but before we really get started, tell us, just share a little bit about your journey and why it was important to write this book.
So I'm a caregiver. DJ, my first son, was diagnosed with sickle cell at birth. So going into right from birthday, he was diagnosed, and we were given the specialists, and everybody came on board. Like, this is what you're going to be dealing with. So I was like, okay. As parents and caregivers, we all have that moment of guilt, as far as sickle cell is concerned. But when we pass that, we're like, all right, now what is the way forward? And for me, we had an incredible team. The medical team on board was so tremendous from day one. And DJ, alongside growing up, his situation was he started experiencing crisis at a very early age. By age 2, he had already had about 2 blood transfusions.
Okay.
So the doctor was like, okay, this is an option. When you have sickle cell, we know we have hydroxyurea and all that, but we want to introduce you to the bone marrow transplant if you can consider it as well. So by the time he was age 1, they were telling us we have to look for a donor, somebody who will be a match for him and all of that. And they said, okay, as a young mom, I'm going to have other kids. Of course, they were like, okay, if you're going to have another child, we'll consider the family first to look for a donor. So the second pregnancy, I was on the lookout for what is going to happen next. And they said, okay, bone marrow transplant, they consider either a family member as a donor or the cord blood collection. So
Yes.
that is how it started. That was the starting point. So cord blood, and then thankfully the second child was a match for him. So they collected the blood, and then it was like, once he's a match, you are even very lucky to have a sibling donor. So by age 2, we're talking about transplant and how it's going to be done and all of that. So fast forward, we went through everything. It's not as simple as I have said it.
Yes.
No, but we went through it, and after everything, DJ went into transplant when he was age 3, and Junior, the donor, was age 2.
Okay.
So after transplant, when we came home, DJ had the scars on him as that little kid. Even though he couldn't remember everything, I would hear them talking about it.
Okay.
So one day, Junior came to me and he was all sad. He was all gloomy. I'm like, what is this like? My brother has scars on him, and what is it? So I started telling him. I think after age 2, 3, he was becoming aware of whatever had happened. So I started telling him, And he didn't like the idea that there was blood involved. I think I didn't do a good job that day. When he came to me with questions, I don't know what happened. The way I told him that, look, your brother was sick and you helped him, he became, I saw him crying. I'm like, what? Why are you crying? He said, no, I don't want to hear anymore. In fact, that broke my heart. So the next time we went into clinic for other checkups, I told my nurse about it, and he was like, that is so unfortunate. But he saved the day. So we need to tell him what he did. And as a mom, I was in a dilemma from that point. How do I tell him? So one day, usually at bedtime, I'll tell them bedtime stories. And it dawned on me, okay, what if I tell him that he's a superhero who saved the day? So in just a narration form, I just told him briefly how he saved the day and his brother got healed. And there he lit up. I remember that night. He just lit up. Did I do that? I said, yes, you are the superhero. And then that night, I didn't sleep. I said, I think I'm going to write it down so that I can repeat to him and tell him over and over. So that is how the story came about.
Wow, that is incredible. I want to just pause for a quick second because I know people are listening, but they may not be familiar with the term you use, which is cord blood. And I want to just kind of let people know what that is. So, when a mother is pregnant, often you will find out information about some of the companies that will take the umbilical cord blood, and that can be used for stem cells that could potentially help to save a child's life if they have certain chronic illnesses. And some of those companies, if your child has been diagnosed with sickle cell disease, sometimes they don't charge you to bank the cord blood. So I know in my personal experience, I'm also a caregiver, and I was pregnant with twins. And the company that I had actually looked into, they told me that if my child, I had to pay for both outright, but if I had had a child and that child had been diagnosed with sickle cell disease, but they were born not twins, but born at separate times, then I would not have had to pay for the additional child. That cord blood would have been used. So for people who are interested in it, it is something that you can Google to find out more information about. It is something that can have a cost. It may not, depending on where you give birth, because there are some places that will cover the cost. So I know it's just different laws that you have to really research in your area. But I am happy to hear that it was something that you looked into and found out about. Did your OBGYN tell you about it, or were you already familiar with cord blood banking?
No, once I became pregnant with my second child, they were like, okay, this is an option for you, and we want you to be aware of. My situation, they told me that they're going to collect enough cord blood at birth so that they wouldn't have to draw more from the baby. However, I think I had a little bit of complication at delivery, so they couldn't get enough. And so they, on the day of transplant, they have to take out even more from Junior the same day to add up to what they had collected earlier. But what that did for me was to confirm that indeed he was a donor and a perfect match for him.
That's incredible. And yes, I know exactly what you're saying because I mentioned that I have twins, and my younger twin who doesn't have sickle cell, she didn't have enough. She was very tiny. She was 3 pounds and I think 11 ounces. So she was a tiny, tiny baby. And it wasn't enough cord blood from her for us to use. And so that wasn't an option for us. So I'm so glad that they explained it to you. Now, for those who are listening and they're like, cord blood banking, what do you mean by banking? Basically, they freeze that cord blood until you need it. So it can be many, many, many years until you actually need it.
Yeah. Yes. To add up to that point, once they collected it, they told us, look, no rush. They have a way of keeping it as long as you are ready. And bear in mind, if you're going into transplant, they need you to be very ready psychologically, whatever you need in terms of family wise, your support, your social support, and all of that. Until you say yes, nobody's going to force you to, go ahead until you are ready.
Absolutely. So I know that the writing process is so personal. And you mentioned that you started telling your son, Junior, a story about him being a superhero. So, how did your role as a caregiver really influence the writing process? And do you plan on writing additional stories that are somewhat related to your caregiver experience?
Um, it hasn't been easy even with this one. So thumbs up to you for being for having that many books out there already. You're an inspiration anyway. So, however, like you had said earlier, as a caregiver, I have this in mind. This book in particular was to highlight the role of the donor. And I know there are so many people out there that they have contributed to, the journey of sickle cell, the warriors, caregivers, everyone. And I know right now there are still studies and all kinds of things. And I realized, look, I'm fortunate to be at the forefront or the front row to witness who the donor is. So let me do something to celebrate them as well. As long as we hail our warriors, we also want to pay attention to the donors who some way, somehow are contributing to curing sickle cell.
Yes, I love the fact that this book is about bone marrow transplant because I feel like in our community, there's so many people who have questions about the bone marrow transplant process. And it can be scary for them, but also hopeful. And I think the story paints a great picture about how that really progresses. Now, I want to pause for a second because people are like, oh, you're talking about this story, you're telling everything about it, but we haven't even heard the story yet. And so I want to give you an opportunity to read the story to everybody so that they can follow along as I ask you other questions later.
Yes, of course. So this is the book. It's called Captain Blue versus the Red Crescent Moon. This book is dedicated to the warriors living with sickle cell disease, their caregivers, and to all bone marrow transplant donors like our little hero, Michael Banini Jr. This is DJ. He loves to play, make believe, and go on adventures with his little brothers, Junior and Andy. Building sandcastle is one of his favorite things to do. DJ was born with sickle cell disease. This disease affects his blood, which makes him sick most of the time. Did you know that the blood in our body is made up of tiny cells? These cells are like a vehicle that carries oxygen to every part of our body. When you take a closer look at the cells under the microscope, they look like a round donut shape. The donut shape makes the blood cells move around inside the body easily. However, the blood cells in people with sickle cell disease looks different. Instead of the squishy round donut shape, the sickle cell disease sucks the energy out of the cells and turns some of them into tiny crescent shapes. This disease is called sickle cell because the cells look like a type of farm tool called sickle, which also looks just like the crescent moon shape. This is the illustration for that. These icky sticky cells make it hard for blood to move easily in the whole body. When this happens, it causes lots of pain in DJ's body. Kids like DJ get sick all the time. Whenever DJ is sick with his pains, he cannot go on adventures, play, and have fun like everyone else. So Mama takes DJ to see the doctor at the hospital. All the nurses and the doctors were happy to see DJ. They promised to help him get better and decided to come up with a plan to stop those icky sticky cells from making DJ's body hurt. What do you think their plan was? Although DJ was a little scared, he wanted to be brave. Sorry, I skipped a page. First, they did all their checks to see what those icky sticky cells were up to. How do you think DJ felt about the checkup? Although DJ was a little scared, he wanted to be brave to help the doctors kick those icky sticky cells out of his body. DJ was given medicine to take every day, which was like a power booster to help his body fight the icky sticky cells. The doctor asked DJ to visit the hospital regularly for checkups. While DJ was doing his part, taking his medicine every day, his team at the hospital was thinking of how to get those icky sticky cells out of his body so they never ever have to bother him again. One day, a member of the team had an idea. Can you guess what that was? The idea was to find a superhero donor who has a similar blood type as DJ, but without the icky sticky cells and is willing to share some. This superhero will give some of their blood to help DJ feel better. On the next visit, DJ Jr. and their baby brother Andy, together with Mama and Papa, went to the hospital to listen to the plan. After hearing all about it, everyone was so happy that finally those icky sticky cells would be gone forever. But then DJ asked, who is this superhero and where do they live? The doctor said, well, we must search the entire world for a donor perfectly for you. The entire world? DJ asked him with a gasp. Yes, said the doctor. People from all over the world are part of a list like an island. It is called Be the Match. This island, the doctor explained, is a place only for people called bone marrow donors who wants to share their healthy blood to rescue other sick people like DJ. We can search from there, he added. His little brother Junior, hearing all about a search on an island, thought that sounded fun. So he asked, can I help you search? Of course, we will be glad to have you on board, the doctor replied. Can we make you the captain of our search team? The doctor asked Junior. Yes, Junior excitedly replied. What name should we call you? The doctor inquired. I am Captain Blue because blue is my favorite color. All right, Captain Blue, welcome to our team, said the doctor. He gave Captain Blue a high five and said, it is time to start our search. After days of searching through the whole Be the Match registry, sadly, they could not find a match for DJ. Captain Blue was so disappointed, but suddenly he thought of an idea. Then he asked Mama, Mama, is it okay for the team to check if my blood is a match? Yes, Mama. The doctor looked him up and was incredibly surprised to find out that Captain Blue was the perfect superhero they had been looking for all this while. They told Junior all about how they were going to collect his blood to help save his brother DJ. How do you think DJ felt? How do you think Junior felt? Hearing all about how it was going to be done made Junior a bit nervous. Will it hurt? He asked. A little, but we will put you to sleep and you will feel nothing, and with great medicine, you will bounce back in no time, the doctor told him. Even though Junior was a little scared, he wanted his brother to be healthy and happy again. So Junior said he was ready to be the donor. Everyone was amazed by Junior's bravery. With the help of the team and everyone cheering him on, along with Mama and Papa at his side in the hospital, Captain Blue's blood cells were collected, and after a few hours, he was up and ready to go back home. Captain Blue was given a badge for his bravery. Next was transplant day. The night before the transplant day, after Mama had finished reading the boys their bedtime story and said their prayers, Captain Blue asked DJ, "Are you scared for your big day?" DJ, in a sad voice, said yes. Seeing how nervous his brother was, Captain Blue took his hero badge and said, "Have this, DJ. It will make you brave too. And remember, we both are superheroes." That brought a smile to DJ's face as he jumped off his bed and gave Captain Blue a big hug, saying, "I will be brave just like you." Mama kissed them all good night. The big day everyone was waiting for came. It was transplant day. Transplant day is a day the doctor replaces all those icky, sticky blood cells in DJ's body with the strong, powerful cells collected from Captain Blue. After a few days, all the blood cells became round donut shape. The pain were no more. Those icky, sticky cells were completely chased out of DJ's body. DJ is free from sickle cell, thanks to Captain Blue for saving the day. That's the end of the story. Now the family goes back home.
Beautiful. I love the illustrations so much. And I love this last page. So can you show the last page one more time so everybody can see the family in the car?
Yeah.
That is a beautiful, beautiful page. What I love about your book is the characters. They are, African American, like your family. And I'm wondering, was it hard to find an illustrator that could create um, characters with features that you could relate to?
Initially was kind of a little bit hard, but after talking to some few people that have worked that part, they introduced me to an app that was easy. And of course, I had to also tell the person this is how I want it. I want it to reflect the people we are talking about. So that is what I was looking out for. However, like when you see the doctors, I wanted to make sure it also, it's fair to whoever was involved in the story as well. So it's not all black, African Americans, but I had a great team behind us going forward that were part of everyone.
Yes. Did you show your doctors the book after you finished it? And what did they say?
Now they have even adapted it into the oncology unit at San Antonio Children's Medical Center. So when you go there, you can see one. They purchased one right away. They were so excited that at least it talks about sickle cell, but it also explained the Be the Match registry as well as the bone marrow transplant itself. In simple terms, like I say, I'm not an expert, but from the point of view as a caregiver, I wanted to share this one.
I'm sure they were super proud of you because I think, as caregivers, you already have a lot on your plate, but when you take time to write and share your story in a way that would help other families, it's just reassuring. And it really helps the doctors it makes their work a little bit easier because people will have an introduction to what is already taking place. So I think that's really awesome. One of my favorite parts of the story is when Junior takes off his hero button and he gives it to DJ before he undergoes the transplant. Do you have a part that really just kind of melted your heart and touched you?
Yes, it's the final end where every time I see this story, this part when they were chasing, literally that's how I feel when I see DJ going about his daily life, not having to worry about anything now. Anytime I check this one, I'm like, oh, okay, okay, they did it. They did it because it sounds simple, but it was kind of a journey, it was kind of a journey. So the end will bring joy to you. So I hope this book gives somebody's hope. I know sometimes I get a call from my clinic. My doctor's like, hey, this family, they're about to go to the same path. Would you want to talk to them? And it's inspiring to share a little hope with someone that, yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes. That is incredible that you get to be a mentor to other families that are going through the same thing. I think that's very helpful. And I'm sure people feel just at ease when they know that somebody in the hospital has already had a successful transplant. And the fact that, you're right there and can connect with them, I think is an added bonus. So kudos to you. And I'm just really excited about the journey that you were able to experience and how you're able to help other people. The title of your book is Captain Blue versus the Red Crescent Moon. It kind of evokes a sense of conflict and resolution with the title. Can you discuss how personal experiences, particularly your child's health challenges, help shape the title of the book? How did you know that you were going to call it Captain Blue and the Red Crescent Moon?
Interestingly, I look back and I don't really know how it came. I think it was something wrestling within me. You know, I always tell people that my kids were very little when they went through that. And it's like more or less like a cliche. When you were a mom or a caregiver, sometimes when you're at the point you wish you can take that pain off your child, that was how I felt, and that was a journey I walked. So I think everything was coming. I I took all most of the pain that so the wrestling was inside me, like it was a challenge, like you said, a conflict. But I also wanted to bring it to children's interest as well, inculcate the interest version of children. It has to do with colors and conflict between red and blue. When we're talking about sickle cell, of course, the blood comes to mind right away, and red will do it right if you choose red for it. For the blue, it is Junior's version of it. Junior chose that. Junior came up with it because he is all blue person. He's blue. You push him into the room and say, go get dressed. He will step up almost everything in blue. So I think that was the fun part of it, just to play with the words, and it blended beautifully. But internally behind it, I think internally I was dealing with the conflict of, the struggles that we've walked through, and it arrived at the title, I think.
Awesome. So I gotta ask you, when you first got your book in the mail, I remember getting my first book in the mail, and I remember that feeling, and I remember crying. Can you describe that experience from having the thought? Like first you have this thought, I'm going to do this, then you put in the work, but it doesn't feel real until you hold the book in your hand. So tell us all about that time.
We started counting down. I was the child in this situation. My kids were even calmer when we opened the door and was at. I videoed it. I think I have to share it on social media. We all were like, "Hey, the book is in!" And it was an exciting moment. It felt so real at that moment. Like, oh, I can say I'm an author now. From a caregiver to an author, that sounded very fun and interesting. It was amazing.
Yes. So I want to tell people, just writing the books, you don't, at least for me, I didn't feel like an author until I held the book in my hand. It's like, yes, you know that you're writing and you know that you're creating a book, but it's not until that it's actually published that you really feel like you can tell people for sure that you're an author. Otherwise, it feels like, well, it kind of feels like fraud unless you can hold the book in your hand, right?
It's true. And again, everything I went through in trying to make sure DJ got better, that energy came back when I was trying to write this book. It's like never give up. I'm not giving up. There were at times I'm like, nobody's gonna read this book. Everybody knows about sickle cell. It's not that fun. It's you read it to Junior and he liked it. That's it. It's okay. So the moments like it's just gonna be you and your kids reading it. And when I got the invitation from you guys, I'm like, oh yeah, now I'm an author. Somebody's calling me to read my book. So it's different. It's different.
I am so happy for your success. I'm happy that the hospital has received it. And I really, I know personally, I'm trying to tell other people about more sickle cell books because there are so many different families that need to have a library. I want sickle cell to be something that kids in schools understand. And I know that we need more sickle cell books. And the fact that you have a book, it can go in schools. So other little kids can hear the stories. And I just think it's important to help normalize what our kids are going through so that they'll know that they're not alone. I have a question for you. So I know that you faced some unique challenges as a parent of a child who needed a bone marrow transplant. In what ways have you been able to kind of put those challenges in writing? I know you've written this book, but do you journal to help you cope with the feelings as a caregiver? Can you kind of describe how that emotional journey has been for you?
Oh yes, like I mentioned, if you're a parent, I know I've not seen people talk about this aspect of sickle cell and being a caregiver that much. The guilt. There are few people that go in knowing that this is going to be the end result. So emotionally, it takes a toll on you. For me, my faith has played a key role, and then I have family that support my faith. We spent 50 days in the hospital during transplant, and it was journal that kept me going. I will have my book. The transplant process itself has a whole book on its own every day. That's the way you can offload, because you see your child going through something that you wish you can just take it like, okay, put the medicine on me. Let me have the drip. Let me have the chemo and he'll be fine. But that's not something you're going to do. You can do. So you watch the day unfold, and at night, I pour it to God. God heard me so a lot of times, so many times. So family, and I'll take this opportunity to plead with anyone. If you know any family that are dealing with sickle, they have warriors, even the caregivers. Sometimes check up on them. Just send them something. Be there. Check up on them. I'm pleading with everyone. And for me, was that support that I had. Of course, I don't have all of my family here, but the few friends that have turned into family were with me the whole time. And the doctors themselves, the nurses themselves, they line up a whole team for me. I think in my situation, you have a physical therapist, even a psychologist that will come and sit with you and talk. So yes, I journaled a lot. And that even is not part of this book. That is a whole story. So maybe, yeah, to your point, maybe that can be a second book on its own.
Yes, yes. I think, I can definitely relate to what you're sharing. And I know for many families that are also caregivers like you and I, it can be hard trying to explain sickle cell to our family members and our friends. You mentioned your support group. You mentioned your family and friends. Did they understand sickle cell without you having to explain it? Can you kind of describe how they supported you and how they knew about it?
It was this support group I'm talking about are people that understand, because you can't explain. You don't need a new person coming on board. It's gonna be hard trying to explain before they believe, before they agree to share in your journey. No. So from day one, it will be closest family friends or closest people that already know your story, already know sickle cell, already know that you're a career. I know some of my friends knew I'm a career. They knew my husband too. So when we had our child and he had sickle cell, they already know that this is what it is. For me, I didn't have the energy to start, to be honest and frank with you. Those who didn't understand, okay, you be where you are because I'm not going to pour that into you right now. If you understand, then you're on board. So for those that I could count on were people that at least had an idea of what I was dealing with. For the transplant itself, they didn't even know what it was. I was learning alongside, so I couldn't even explain. All I knew was, in simple terms, it is sickle cell, and we have a cure, and this is how it's going to be done. So just be there and support me alongside it.
Yes. So if there are other families who are interested in writing about their journey, what would you tell them? How would you tell them to get started?
First, talk to your doctors. Ask
Okay.
every question that comes to your mind. Make sure every question you have is answered to your satisfaction. And don't lose hope. For me, the doctors were very frank with me that this is what you are going into. These are your options. This is how it will be. It might work, it might not work. But they assured me that since it's coming from a sibling, the success rate was, higher. So it gave me hope. Do not lose hope. If you have any doubt, ask questions. DJ is doing great now. I look back and he's playing his tennis. He's doing everything I expected him to do after transplant. And to the glory of God, he is doing them all. So don't lose hope. And it's going to be okay. That's
You're mentioning just the contrast a little bit between before transplant and after transplant. Can you kind of describe what were you seeing with your son that's completely different now? I know one of the things about my daughter with sickle cell, she's tired often. So can you kind of, for those people who aren't as knowledgeable about sickle cell, and sickle cell really affects everybody differently, but can you paint a picture of kind of what his day-to-day struggles were with sickle cell prior to the bone marrow transplant?
Of course, he didn't live with it that long. DJ went into transplant when he was age 3.
Okay.
But even that short time that I saw him, when his fever is 101, 102, we are in the ER already. He will be in pain. The few times I saw him in crisis, it was hard. It was kind of hard. And anytime there was fever around him, or he has this cough, or like normal allergies is not normal for him. I'm in Texas, and pollen counts here, it's terrible. So spring and seasonal allergies is horrible. But at that time for him, he couldn't even handle that. But right now, he'll get everything. And he's fine. He's active. He's playing. The tiredness has gone down. You don't see him go sit quiet like he used to be. DJ is everywhere, doing whatever he wants to do. And I love to see him at where he is right now. I'm happy with the results that has come out.
I am happy for the positive results as well. I think it's just terrific to hear how he was able to get it done early. I know many doctors have shared, and the stories that I've read is early intervention and getting a transplant early often has better results. And so I think that the fact that your son was able to get it early is just encouraging to me. I know when I think about my girls who are twins, I would have loved for their doctor to be as willing to share the options with bone marrow transplant while she was little, because as they get older, it becomes more difficult. And so I love that you were able to do it and also have the confidence and support and just a knowledgeable team around you, because it can be hard partnering with different doctors. Can you kind of talk about that trust that you built with your son's healthcare team, where you felt confident that you were willing to do the bone marrow transplant?
I, like I said, by the time he was 2 months old, my PCP has already recommended me to um, the oncologist unit in San Antonio. And since day one, the doctor was frank with me that this is what it is. And for some reason, I trusted her. And she would ask you over and over, do you want this? Go research, go think about. She wasn't pushing it. It was like a team. Have you thought about it? How do you feel? He wasn't only giving me information. She wasn't only pouring information at this what she would was also addressing my own personal concerns as well. So that helped. And then when she was ready, she also referred me to someone she thought was very good and would be able to do the transplant for her. So knowing that that person was recommended to us from someone we trusted also gave us hope. So that was, so it became like we're building the blocks, but from one solid point to the next one. The first foundation was solid for me. So it helped me to move forward to consider what was ahead as well.
Yes, yes. So, in terms of just writing the book and hearing from people who have read the book, what are some things that you're hearing from your audience? What are people letting you know?
They're letting me know, oh, I didn't know this is how sickle cell was. I didn't know about it. Thank you for the information. Well, now we have a copy in our city library, and the last time I went, somebody has checked it out, and the librarian was so happy that they came and they were so happy with the story. So at least I'm creating the awareness. Some come and say that, wow, this is a story, not only the sickle cell aspect, but it's a story of compassion and bravery as well. So you can even share that with your children. So the feedback has been supportive, and it's been like, oh, I'm encouraged and inspiring, and all of those sweet things you hear people say that, wow, you have inspired me through your story.
Yes. Can you share how did you go about getting your book into a library? And those who are listening, listen up, take notes on this part, because I think it's very important for us to listen to you and share about your book, and also request that our libraries put the book in our branches as well. So tell us, how did you go about getting your book in your local library?
My local library here in Seguin, Texas, they have this great kids unit that they have children's programs. So I've been attending with my kids when they are toddler. They have toddler sessions, so we've been part of it, and the librarian knows our story as well. Even though she didn't know he had sickle cell, she knew DJ had some conditions somewhat. Like I said, I didn't have the energy to even stop at the time to explain if he didn't know. It is now that I have a breather to put it in a book to tell you. So I had established that relationship with the librarian at the time. And so when the book was out, I told her gist of it. And she was like, oh my God, I didn't know. Can I have a look at it? And I just sent them a copy. And before I knew, they had, brought it into the library. So as to how the process, I don't know the formal process you have to take to have your book in a library. But for me, I think it was just a relationship that we have built. And I think she looked at it, she realized it would be good, and they got a copy of it.
Yes, that's incredible. I often tell people relationships really make a difference. And as an author, it's particularly important. And I think what you touched on is you didn't even have to go through a formal process. All you had to do was say, "Hey, I wrote this book." You showed it to her, and that was it.
That was it.
And I think that it's important for us who are listening, and whenever we hear these authors' corner, we can take ownership, because these people are a part of our sickle cell community, and we can say, hey, I know she has a great book and I'm going to request it for my library. So I know like online, you can request that so I'm in Maryland. So we can go online and request that our libraries purchase books. We just go to the library website. You can probably type it into the search, but they will allow us to request books. And you really just put down the title and the author. And they may actually purchase the book for your library. And so that's one of the ways that our community can give back to the authors in our community, because it's important for there to be a section for kids. Even though the book is about sickle cell disease, which we know is the most common genetic disorder, we know that stories about bravery, stories about health, increased health literacy, we know that it helps children with empathy. So even though all kids aren't going to have the same condition, the story alone is going to help them understand about different health challenges that other children may go through, and that will increase empathy in them. So I think it's something that we can do as a community by requesting the book in our local library. So I just wanted to put that plug out there because it's something that doesn't cost us money, but it's something that we can do to honor those people who are sharing their stories in the community. I I wanted to just kind of take a second, and I know you mentioned that you have a husband, and I know that I also have a husband, but often you see, you people may see the mom being a little bit more outspoken about advocacy. Can you share just a little bit about how your husband supports your caregiver journey? And because I feel like just dads often carry this journey a little differently than us as moms.
Definitely, they carried differently, but he's been on board from day one. I couldn't have done it without him. That's why I made sure he was involved. Anytime we had gone for the doctor's appointment, he would be there from day one. And for me, I didn't have that many family around to be like, because I stayed in the hospital for 50 days. 50 days with DJ, and Junior was like 2 years old. So daddy did most of the caregiving. And I remember the day for the transplant, DJ was on this bed and Junior was on the other bed because he had just been brought from, recovering from the blood they took from him. So I was just kind of torn. I didn't know, but daddy stepped up and he took care of him the whole time. The whole time. So of course he doesn't talk much. I'm there. So right now he's even taking care of the boys, making sure they're okay, and mommy gets this quiet time to be able to talk. So, and you need that. You need that for thanks to all the men out there that don't talk much, but behind the scene, they are doing a lot to help, as they are all caregivers and we see them, we acknowledge them. And thank you. If he watched this later, I just want to say thank you to him for, all he does. We really appreciate him so much.
Yes, I love that we're taking time to shout out dads, because people often don't realize how helpful they are because they don't see them. They're not necessarily the camera ready type of guys that are
He's not.
talking. Yeah, and my husband is very quiet as well. And so I always tell people that I'm able to be, the advocate that I am because my husband is so helpful. I wouldn't be able to show up if he wasn't, my backbone and really the foundation in our household. And so I love that you were able to shout him out. And just if he watches this, we appreciate you looking after the boys. Kudos to dads. I'm just gonna throw it out there because they are sometimes unsung heroes who are working behind the scenes so that we can get stuff done. And sometimes us moms are more willing to be verbal about what's going on, to talk about our emotions, to talk about this whole health journey. And so I think that may be just very different, but it's important for people to understand that it does take a village, whatever village that may look like in
Right.
your family. It's not like we're islands doing it alone.
No, you
That's
wouldn't.
what it looks like, but it's not the reality. So I'm wondering, when it comes to parenting the boys and just going out and having your book, have you seen like a sense of pride in your kids? Are they telling their teachers? How have they kind of reacted to being in a book?
A sense of pride. That's what, and motivation. Like they've seen that mommy did it, and so I can do it. Now Junior tells me he's writing a comic book, and he tells me his comic book is going to be better than my book. So it looks like I have a competition, right? That means next book I have to do better. And I'm glad that I did it alongside them. There was a we that it changed alongside the journey. We changed some. He came up to me. Initially, we wanted to do this like a monster, the sickle cell as monster. And then he said, Mom, you know that there's still people that still have sickle cell. How would they feel that you tell them they are monster? I'm like, oh, I didn't. I was going to pour out all my whatever on it. But so I worked alongside with them, and I can see motivation. That is number one. It's motivated. We've motivated each other, but in my kids, I've seen the boys on a different level when it comes to motivation. And their teachers have purchased some. One of DJ's first grade teacher called me and said, "Hey, I'm happy that DJ has a book about him. Can you come and share with us?" So she purchased it for the entire class, and we that was so sweet. And anytime when I get those opportunities, I try to go with the boys and see how their story is impacting other people. And it brings some sense of pride, motivation, and hope in them. And that's what I can say to that.
Oh, I love that your son is thinking about doing a comic book because I love the graphic novels they have for kids. They're really good, and I think we need more that show diverse characters. And I think that, you definitely planted a seed with this book so that the kids know, hey, when I want to raise something, I can have that idea and then bring it to fruition and have my own book. So you're definitely inspiring your own boys and to be able to go to their classroom and really build that relationship with the teacher so that she would purchase books for the entire class is just incredible. And it shows how, you know, the positive interactions that you've had, because here's the thing, if when you're a difficult parent, people don't support you. So obviously you were able to make an impression that she wanted to support you. And I think that that's beautiful that the school that he goes to is able to say, we supported this family. They have a terrific book. It's sharing a terrific story. So it's kind of like validation in your local community. And some authors don't get that. They're celebrated elsewhere and not at home.
Thank
So
you.
kudos to you.
Thank you.
In terms of just your experience overall as an author and a caregiver, what do you think you want to kind of leave with other caregivers to let them know about maybe being an author themselves or being a parent who supports their child on their health journey? Can you kind of share, like, is there other avenues that you want to go in and be an advocate for? Like, yes, advocacy is something that you're doing since day one, but are you moving in new directions as an advocate now that you've also become an author?
That would be the new frontier I would want to take. But for now, I think I have people privately DM me. And originally I'm from Ghana. And back home we have I know family and friends that have sickle cell warriors, so they've been reaching out, and the information I have here, I try to share with them. Although I don't have any organized form right now. Right now, the boys are already takes much of chunk of my time. However, I try to do the individual ones. Like if my clinic refers someone to me, I'm able to share a little bit with them, and I talk with them on that scale. That's pretty much what I'm doing right now. And like you said, in my community, my neighbors that have bought the book are like, okay, I'm learning something new. So I take the opportunity to explain to them. And some didn't even know. Of course, it's something that is more common with African Americans. So those people that have no idea what it is, I take the opportunity to explain to them, and that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. Not much.
Well, I think you're doing terrific, and marketing the book is a lot. That in and of itself is a lot of work because you got to tell everybody. It's like you're always on. You got to keep the book with you. You got to constantly tell everybody. Is that what you do to market? Or do you find yourself like with books in the trunk of your car? How have you kind of expanded? Um, because are you an extrovert? Have you just been able to just talk to people about it freely, or just kind of describe the marketing process that you've taken?
I wish I can say I have something going for marketing, but not much. I'm a self-published author. I just did a KDP with Amazon, and that has been the major platform where the book is available on. However, the few times it's been my community pretty much that is helping me market it a lot. Recommendation. I go to church and somebody says, "Hey, I hear you wrote a book and I want to purchase it for this group." That has been the major avenue right now that I'm using. As far as going big on marketing and little ones on social media, I'm not that active there. But because of this book, I'm trying to be like you and putting myself. See, I made you laugh. I put myself out there more, but marketing has been a bit of challenging. So yeah, I'm still learning alongside the journey. I'm newbie, and I'm trying my best to get it out there.
Yes, so I just want to speak to that. We have to help each other. So, community, you hear this author, she has three boys. We have to help her let other people know about this book. I definitely I have a friend whose daughter is she's graduating from college and she's going to be a teacher. And just listening to you, I am going to gift her this book for her classroom. So I will let her know that I'm going to send her this book because she wants to, she had the teacher, she's going to be a teacher, and she has sickle cell disease, and she wants to have some sickle cell books in her classroom. This is one way that we can help
Thank you.
authors. You're welcome. You're welcome because we have to help each other out. I know personally that being online, parenting, being a wife, doing all the things is a lot. It's a lot on your plate and being an advocate. But we are a community, a strong
Oh
community,
yeah.
and we love that there are books for our children. And so that's something that we can help with by telling other people about it. There is strength in numbers. So definitely say the name of your book again, hold it up, and tell everybody where they can go to purchase it.
So this is Captain Blue versus the Red Crescent Moon, and it's written by Joyce Koomson. It's available on Amazon.com. If you go there, you can purchase one and purchase one for a friend. Yes, this is the book. I hope you see it. Yeah, yeah. This is my very
Yes.
Captain Blue versus the Red Crescent Moon. Yeah, by Joyce Koomson on Amazon.com.
Yes, I'm going to put the link in the comments section so that it will be there. I'm going to ask the tech team. Let's see if I can. Is it working? So my screen is frozen, so I can't leave a comment. But what I will do is after this conversation is over, I will definitely put it in the description. So can you just let everybody know how they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Joyce Koomson. You can find me there, Instagram, and then on TikTok as well. If you go to TikTok, Joyce Koomson is there, and Facebook, Joyce Koomson, Instagram, Joyce Koomson too. So yeah, pretty much it.
Terrific, terrific. Everybody follow Joyce and definitely support her book. So I feel honored that you were able to join me tonight and share your book with our audience. So thank you for being a part of Cayenne Wellness Center's Author's Corner. We appreciate you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And I want to personally thank you and the team and everyone for having me on board. I really appreciate it. I hope my story inspired someone out there going into transplant. And even if you want to be a donor, we appreciate you, and everyone is going to be okay. We are a community of strong people, and we will go through whatever we've been thrown our way. We will sail and we will be successful at it. Thank you all for having me.